Today, I want to talk about the number one challenge I see when leadership teams are thinking about AI integration, and it has nothing to do with AI and nothing to do with technology. It has to do with communication. At the end of each of my workshops, I ask people, when thinking about AI in your role, I used to think and now I think. And the overwhelming majority of people shift their mindset towards AI because they realize so much of what they thought was an assumption actually was not a fact at all and was just something they had thought based off of what they had heard. But when they hear the data and they actually get to experience it, their entire mindset completely changes to be more open minded, more enthusiastic, but also more cautious. And so they are better positioned to make better decisions about how to integrate AI in their role. One of the things I often share with leadership teams are assumptions are often like termites to a relationship. Now, one of the most important qualities of a great relationship is trust. And assumptions slowly erode that trust. And these assumptions are often built up because of miscommunication or a lack of communication. And this divide is definitely not new. It's something that was highlighted in a recent PwC trust survey, revealing a stark disparity. 86% of executives express high trust in their workforce, but only 60% of employees feel that their employers trust them in return. So there we are again, back to assumptions. Hi everyone, I'm Saba. I'm the CEO of Designing Schools, and on this channel, I help you learn the methods and mindsets that are going to give you a human advantage in an AI world. So hit subscribe for insights and strategies for how to be irreplaceable in a world with AI. The trust gap has real consequences, affecting everything from productivity to the quality of our services and experiences. Effective communication plans are essential in being able to bridge this gap. These plans not only clarify how AI tools should be used, but also really reassure employees about their roles and the value of their contributions when we think about the long-term vision of an organization. The absence of these types of strategies has often led to employees taking matters into their own hands, with 78% of AI users across all generations saying, we're just bringing our own AI tools to work because it's super beneficial. We're seeing these kinds of results, but no one's really talking to us about the AI plan or how we are going to be using this. And to make matters even worse, 52% of people who are using AI at work are reluctant to admit it because they say when they're using it for their most important tasks, they feel like it's going to make them look replaceable. So again, you can see one assumption after another after another. So today, I want to talk about why your plan for AI integration also should include a really strong communication plan. And as always, you don't have to do this work alone. We are going to look at how our AI tools can help us rebuild trust through transparency, involvement with your team in decision making, and how supportive leadership can transform organizational culture and boost both people's motivation and morale and productivity and innovation across your organization.
I'm Conor Grennan. I am the Chief AI Architect over at NYU Stern School of Business, and I was Dean of Students there for the last 10 years. But for the last year or so, with all the generative AI stuff, I've been obviously trying to put out a lot of content, following a ton of content from all you as well, and like kind of learning as we go. But I haven't been doing video for that long, probably, but what I love about these kinds of spaces is that as you're learning, it's and sort of like sharing knowledge, I think it's sort of like so pertinent because it's so fresh and we're all sort of like seeing where we get trapped and everything else. So I am mostly excited to kind of like learn from everybody else on here too.
Yeah, my name's Parker. I am head of growth at Opus Clip. Opus Clip is a generative AI startup. We take any long video and now short videos, which I'll be getting into later on, and we turn them basically into social ready clips. So we add captions to them. We now add AI B-roll and things like that, which I'll be actually showing you all. But yeah, I'm head of growth, which means my job, long story short, is to find people who should be using our product and get it in front of them. So this is kind of like that on a smaller scale. And I'm also really excited to be here because, given the audience here today, I'm really excited to learn a little more about some of you all and just be a part of this discussion, as that's going to help me in my job as well. So yeah, couldn't be more excited to be here, excited to contribute. And yeah.
couple goals that we have for our time together today is number one, really thinking about how we build confidence on camera. And see, one of the reasons why I really find Connor to be so interesting is because most people wouldn't think like the dean of a school or like somebody in that role would be online making videos, but his personality and the humor and the way in which he humanizes the topic, I think is something that, like I just think so many leadership teams can learn from in being able to make that connection with their communities and their teams. We're going to talk about core tools. Our like sort of like main flow is like ChatGPT, Canva for any images, but obviously Opus is the big star of the show here because it takes the bulk of the work and makes it so easy. And we'll look at like what some of those applications are that you can be able to leverage. So a couple stage setting things for when we're thinking about AI tools. One of the ways in which we like to think of them is as if they are extended members of your team. So for example, if I'm looking at creating a video, maybe I'm the one who like knows what I want to talk about. I see a need. I see the topics that people are interested in, but how to formulate that, how to create a content plan, how to divide it into 30-second videos. That's now where I might get some assistance from like ChatGPT for like generating some ideas, some sentence starters, some hooks, some different kinds of scripts. And then when I think about, okay, now I've recorded it, now when I need to edit that video, how can my AI tools help me in that process as well? So always thinking through the workflow and looking at where AI can accelerate parts of it, but also where our voice is absolutely essential in that mix. So with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Connor first to share with us a little bit about your advice on how people can build confidence on camera, even sharing your journey in video. And if, like you said, something new, I didn't know that this is something new you were doing. I thought you'd be doing this forever. But I'd love to kind of just like stop the screen share and have you maybe just like share with us a little bit what it is, what strategies you've been sharing and what you found to be working well.
Yeah, I find video a lot like public speaking. And I think on the public speaking front, I think it's just almost the best skill you can possibly learn. And having said that, it's definitely like a learned skill, right? Just like this is a learned skill as well. And I think that there's a sense sometimes that, by the way, it's my video like a little, there we go. Sometimes I feel like people feel like, well, you're either like natural on camera or you're not, or you're a good public speaker or you're not. And I find that to be absolutely not the case at all. And so I would almost start with how do you get comfortable just like speaking? And so when I think about public speaking, I think the way that I do it, my sort of like secret, I do a lot of public speaking, is that, especially if I'm doing something new, I practice it over and over and over and over again, right? I'm just going to be sort of like super transparent. So if I was like doing something new, and this, by the way, this stuff has to matter to you. Like it's like we can sort of say like, oh, just jump on camera and do anything. You can. I'm talking about sort of like something that you really feel proud of and that you really want to do. So if I'm doing public speaking, for example, I'll practice that thing like 50 times and I'll record myself and I'll make sure I have the timing down. And then I'll sort of like do it again a few more times. And I'll record myself and like watch myself back, all that kind of stuff, because I want to like be comfortable in front of people. I feel like a lot of public speaking, for example, is just feeling like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to mess up. So you start to get nervous and you can't really be yourself. That to me feels like an absolute analog and translates directly to being on video. It's the same kind of thing. Like it's, do it a few times, like just get ready to sort of like sit down. You're like, hey, I'm going to like record something. Try it a few times. Don't feel like, okay, well, here we go. Like the world is going to see this. It doesn't work like that. Like before I did my first like, YouTube videos and things like that, I probably recorded myself like 10 or 15 times and just kept watching it back and saying like, does this sound like me? If not, why? Is it because I'm nervous? Do I need sort of like notes? Do I need to know this stuff better? Like, so video is just the medium. And stuff. I think you're so good at this, is like at like communicating like who you are and the message, right? So it's just think of it as another tool. Now that's easier said than done. But I think the point is, what is going to allow you to sound most like yourself? Do you mean whoever that person is, what's most like yourself? And to me, it's practicing. Again, it's watching myself back and all that kind of stuff until I sort of see a product that I'm like, okay, that kind of feels like me. That's number one. And then number two is this comes with just experience, is realizing, you know what? People are kind of rooting for you. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like you've been bold to get out there. And I think when people see you on camera, they're like, hey, this person is like kind of getting out there. And as soon as I kind of got easier, I don't know, like I guess my heart started to, sort of like thump less, sort of like, with less intensity once I realized nobody's out there like hoping that I'm going to fail or something like that. It's just, how can I sort of like just be myself? But I'll tell you this, the number one thing for me is just keep doing it over and over again. And obviously at some point you have to put it out, but don't feel like the first time you do it, it's like, oh, I look terrible. The lighting's bad, blah, blah. It doesn't even sound like me. Right. That's the case with everybody. If you're writing, your first draft is going to be terrible. Your 22nd draft is going to be fantastic. That's how I sort of like look at it anyway.
What was that sort of initial jumping off point for you? Like, when did you start getting interested in this? Because you're right, we are rooting for you. We're like, how many platforms can we get Conor on? Like, how many different spaces can we get his videos?
Yeah, right. I mean, okay, so here's how I think about it. And it's funny, like, so even when I train on AI, and you and I have talked about this a bunch before, it's so much less about the tool. I mean, obviously with Opus Clip and everything else, like these are things that can all they're going to do is just make you more you, right? That's what I think I'm guessing Parker, is sort of like, is going to agree and nod his head along with that. Like it's like this is a tool to make you more you, right? It's not sort of like, well, with AI now I can be something different. It doesn't work like that. But what that means is that you actually really have to understand what you're doing. And what I mean is like when I say what you're doing, it's like why you're doing it. Like so for me, I had to make a decision, right? And the decision was this. Like I was watching other people's content and I was like, wow, that would be like really cool. And how cool would it be to like, have my own sort of like, videos out there and all that kind of stuff. And eventually I had to ask myself like a really tough question, which was, okay, you can, you can do that. But what it means is that you sort of like go from this very comfortable place of like, oh, someday I'm going to start a channel, or I have a great idea for a channel, or I'm going to sort of start putting more videos out, all that kind of stuff. And you have to make that leap from that to, okay, I'm actually going to do this now. So that's like behavioral change number one. It's sort of like if you want to get in shape, you can read books about exercise, I guess, but it's a behavioral change. Like you actually have to get out and do it. And I'm not even saying it's easy. I'm saying it's very hard. But you have to decide, is that what you actually want? Because if you don't want it, then okay, consume content. Great. That's fun too. But if you want to do it, you have to make the decision, okay, I'm going to do this. And then the second thing is like, how will I be most comfortable? So for me, I know people say like, just start, just kind of get on camera. I personally don't do that. And why? Because I'm going to feel really self-conscious. And if the first things I see of myself out there aren't very good, I'm not going to want to do it again. Now, there's a flip side to that too, is that if you just keep waiting and waiting until you finally reach the right moment, that's also not good. So you have to find that medium of like, okay, this is good enough. This kind of sounds like me. I'm going to jump out. I've wanted to do sort of like short form video for probably 2 years now. And I only got on TikTok probably like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So I am also sort of like, this is also on me. It's not that hard. You literally just film yourself. But in my head, I hear the critics being like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid, blah, blah, blah. So when I hear those critics, I have to decide, yes, I'm maybe going to get criticized by certain people. Maybe certain people will think like this isn't good or something like that. So, what do you want to do with that information? Either you don't have to do it, or you can do it and you can just be like, I'm going to do this and it's going to be for me and I'm going to get better. And I know a lot of people are going to be rooting for me. So it's funny because, as we're kind of like getting into like, what are the tools that'll help you do that? I think we really have to first get in this frame of mind of like, why do you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? I think the answer is yes. I find that it's sort of like one of these things like, what do you wish you had started a year ago? Whether it's like getting to shape or eating healthier or writing a book or whatever it is. Like for me, I'm so glad that I started this about a year ago doing this because now I just feel more comfortable on camera because I know that like, well, to be honest, I'm like, how bad could it be? How it's not going to go that badly. And then the last thing on that is you cannot judge your success based on how many views you get and everything like that. It's all over the place. I've had a few things go viral, no idea why. I've had things get like 4 views, no idea why. You just have to focus on the input. But again, think of it kind of like public speaking. Think of it as like, look, I'm going to get out here and I'm just going to sort of like try to be me. And how do I get to be me? I get to be me by practicing being me in this new sort of like venue because nobody can jump on camera. Nobody can get on stage. Nobody can do anything like that and immediately be super, super comfortable. It won't happen. It's any more than anybody could like write a first draft of a book and have it be great. It's not how the process works for anyone. So I would encourage folks to just like decide why you want to do it, practice a bunch and then just kind of put yourself out there eventually.
You've taken risks at times with some amazing videos about how news is unfolding minute by minute. How did you decide you were ready to speak about topics like the drama at OpenAI, or even what you're doing right now with like Anthropic and the board and all of this?
Yeah, so this is where it's a little bit of a cliche, but I don't know how to get around that. You have to talk about something you're actually interested in. And here's the thing about the internet, somebody else is going to be interested in it. Do you know what I mean? If my passion was like sailing with dogs, there's going to be people out there who, "Oh, look at my whole life looking for this sailing with dog." You know what I mean? Like, now, will most of the planet care about sailing with dogs? No. I don't even care about. I don't sail. I like dogs, but I don't. But so maybe also terrible example. But with Anthropic, with OpenAI, I found myself just reading the news and having opinions. And it's sort of like I started writing a blog back in 2006, 2004, something like that, like a long time ago. And sorry, quick story. I used to keep a journal, right? Like every night. And eventually I found like, you know what? And I was kind of keeping a journal just to sort of like entertain myself. It wasn't like, oh, dear diary. Do you know what I mean? It was more like, hey, like, isn't that kind of crazy and funny and all that kind of stuff? And then I decided I traveled a lot when I was young, and I was going around the world, and I'm like, you know what? Instead of emailing people, I'm just going to like write this blog. I felt kind of weird because it was basically putting my journal online, but that turned actually into a book. I mean, like, so this where this kind of like ends up going, but it's because I wanted to talk about that. I find with OpenAI, Anthropic, all that kind of stuff, like I don't have a lot of people in my neighborhood who want to talk about OpenAI and Anthropic drama. And so I was like, there's going to be somebody out here. So it was just an easy way to sort of like talk excitedly about something that I was like passionate about. So I don't tend to record things unless it's something I actually really feel strongly about. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really like it has to have me talking. It has to get me in a mood where I'm like, I don't want to shut up about this. Like I need somebody to hear this out and hear my opinion on it. And here's like my hot take on it or not, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. But the internet is big. It is big. And if you put it out there, people will find it. It will take some time. The idea that like we're going to put something out and all of a sudden we're just going to blow up is, unless you have some weird viral post or something like that. It's just not how it goes. So you have to like love what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's going to feel like a drag all the time.
Now, this is not a problem that is exclusive to education or enterprise. Whereas I just shared some enterprise statistics with you, you might also remember when I did my research at Design 39, the unanimous word used to share why they were able to get the outcomes they did, building a culture of innovation, collaboration, and really being able to challenge many of the status quo norms. Trust was the unanimous word that was used across the board by everybody who was interviewed and surveyed as to why they felt they were able to do things in a different way at Design 39 compared to other places. The World Economic Forum shares that leadership and social influence is a trending skill. And when I see Conor's videos, to me, they are the perfect example of what this looks like. As you watch him, you connect with him through his personality, his humor, and alongside that, you're learning through the many updates that he's sharing, the perspectives that he shares. And this connection between influence and trust is actually really, really, really important. An effective leader earns trust through consistent, reliable, and ethical behavior. And this trust really allows them not just to direct other people, but to actually really inspire and elevate their team and their audience if they're doing it externally. By encouraging creativity and recognizing accomplishments and inspiring a shared vision, leaders are really able to use this power of influence to create a positive impact both internally inside their organizations and externally with their larger, broader community as well. So, as we consider the principles of creating meaningful, impactful content, remember that building trust is the first step to being able to gain true influence. It's about more than just reaching an audience, it's about connecting with people on a deeper level where your influence can really flow into other people's lives, guiding them and inspiring them. This is also, by the way, one of the most unique human qualities irreplaceable by AI. Whether you're starting out or looking to enhance your content, understanding how to build this trust is essential. Creating compelling video content is not just about having a big following. Like I shared earlier, it's about influence and trust. And there's two things I want you to really remember in this. Number one, this is not just about doing this for outside people or for social media. This is about creating content internally for your teams And number two, if you are thinking about creating for an external audience, it's not about having hundreds and thousands of followers and things like that. You can build a really successful presence by being able to connect with the right people, not just lots of people. And one of the things that I always share with people is I feel like I'm such a great example of that. I don't have hundreds and thousands of followers, but I have a very successful business. And one of the number one drivers of so many new relationships and so many of our clients is it really begins with I saw your video and even though word of mouth is predominantly still one of my like main areas that I focus on that brings us the most business, when somebody refers you and they don't really know who you are, by being able to click on your website or any of your social media platforms and immediately being able to hear from you instantly validates whatever it is that they have heard over here with what you are showing people over here. So all that to say, there are so many reasons to create video content. And today we're going to share how easy it is to do with some of the strategies and AI tools we're going to be sharing with you. I'm going to share with you now the 4 strategies that I use, some of which might really surprise you. So my first best practice is scripting and batching. The video you're watching right now was scripted, even though it may not really seem like it. I script every single video, mostly because I feel like it really helps me stay on track. I don't go off on any tangents, so I stay within my time frame, and I'm also able to batch produce my content. This means that I am sitting down for a few hours, I am scripting all of my videos in one go, and then I'm going to set aside another day to record them all. For accuracy and ease, I also use a teleprompter app right on my iPad, and I usually stick to the script, but if there's ever anything else that I want to go off track and say, I'll just go ahead and add it in.
I say same. I have the teleprompter app on
There you
my
go.
iPhone, and I scroll it with my thumb. Same thing. I've written it, so it's my words, but it keeps me on. I just want to sort of like double tap on that.
Best practice number 2 is I utilize AI tools like ChatGPT. Now, this is really tricky because you have to know how to use these tools the right way, but they are really there to help you brainstorm content ideas, refine your scripts. Such a great tool for when you know sometimes even your topic too well and you need to take it back to that beginner's mindset. Inside our AI leadership toolkit, one of the things that we share are many, many prompts that you can use as a leader to be able to create this kind of content. And if you purchase the AI leadership toolkit and join our community, every single week we share out prompts and ideas for what you can create your video content on to motivate and inspire your teams with all of the members inside our community. All right, so best practice number 3, a dedicated filming setup. Having a consistent place you can go to so that you're not spending every single time you're sitting down to record something, setting everything up, putting the mics in and the cameras and the lightings is a big pain. And having it all set up, you'll always see me in the same location because this is where all of my things are set up, my lights, my camera, my mic. I just have to turn the buttons on and we are ready to go so that I can really focus on delivering to you the best possible content. Last but not least, I never ever script and film on the same day. I take one day to really refine my scripts, really think about the ideas I want to share. It keeps me focused, it keeps me energetic so that I bring the same level of energy to both tasks, and then I have a separate day for filming. Now, there are some exceptions for this. For example, let's say you're out visiting a different office, a different department, a team, a classroom, a different site, or maybe you're at a conference or an event and you see a great story, you want to capture some photos and videos. You can always carry around with you a little tripod and wireless mic so that anytime you see something and you want to capture somebody, you can just interview them and kind of ask them, hey, share with me some highlights about what you just did today, or what am I seeing here as I visit this site? So not everything has to be super produced and scripted. Even sometimes, when you're just walking, if there's an idea that comes to mind, you can actually even have your teleprompter on your iPhone, and you can even just be like walking and actually recording like this while your script is rolling automatically for you to be able to see. Now, another really important part of every single video that you are sharing, especially the ones you're sharing internally, I mean externally too, but really internally, is that you should always be connecting back to your vision. You don't have to always say, this connects to our vision by, but like in your caption or in your email, constantly be making that connection for people that this is this here, but this is the why. When we recognize people and initiatives who are upholding and implementing the vision of our organization, people feel recognized and accomplished. Without a doubt, one of the most time-consuming parts of video is editing. So with that, let's get into Opus Pro, which is going to help us quickly upload our video to caption and edit.
All right, cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for first of all, I think that's a great intro, and there's a lot of kind of what Connor was talking about around like authenticity and stuff that I'd love to double down on as we go. But yeah, the site here, I think the point that the point we're making here is that creativity is like, creativity is probably like the hardest part of it's one of the hardest parts of growing as a creator. I think like a lot of the other things like time, having the time to video edit, having topics to talk about, and expertise. A lot of you, I'm sure, have like inherent expertise in your different areas. Creativity, though, I think is like we all have creativity. It's just hard to like sometimes tap into it. So I want to talk about Opus Clip and how we came to be. Saba, if you want to go, think two ahead. So Opus Clip. I'm gonna give like a quick like 15-second primer.
Sorry. Is this?
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I want to give like a quick like 15-second primer for anyone who hasn't heard of Opus Clip. Again, basically Opus Clip, we're powered by OpenAI. So if you have any kind of video, maybe 10 minutes in length or longer, so think of like a podcast recording, or if you have like a webinar or a lecture, if let's say you're a professor, you have a lecture that you've recorded, you can give it to our AI, and our AI will scan through it, and it will find bits and pieces that make sense as their own standalone clips, most commonly for like social media, but also, again, if you want to share them with just internal team members and stakeholders and so on. Our AI is really good at taking like longer video and like parsing it down into really engaging bite-sized pieces of content. Wanted to spend a minute talking about the fact that today with tools like, more upstream tools like OpenAI, which as Saba was describing, you can use to help ideate and come up with scripts and all of that. But even with tools like Opus Clip, I think the big paradigm shift is like everyone can thrive as a video creator. One thing I wanted to spend a minute talking about is just like our origin story as a company. So our founders, our CEO actually, in a past life, he founded a talent agency. So he kind of worked with like some celebrities, some like large YouTubers, just these big name content creators. And he had an agency. He served them as clients. And one thing that it's just a few years ago he noticed was just like the barrier to entry. I don't want to say how unfair it is for like those larger names to create, video and content and things like that. But it is the barrier to entry kind of pre-AI has been much higher, or was much higher, for creating video. So, video editing in itself is hard. A lot of these creators have help from like script writers, and they have writing teams and things like that. So actually the origin story of our company is that our founder, or at least our CEO, he wanted to set out on a mission to make it easier for basically anyone to thrive as a video creator. So again, a lot of that is like, you can use things like ChatGPT, but then when it comes to like, okay, let's say you've actually shot video, how do you get it, edited and ready to go to a place that it can compete and, reach the right people on social media or grab the attention of your stakeholders, right? That's really hard. Traditionally, you have to be a really good video editor or have the money to hire a really good video editor who can take your videos and make them fun to watch and ready to share. So the kind of mission, if you go to our website and you look at our mission statement, you'll actually see that like our mission is to use AI to make it so that anyone can kind of just shoot video, and then we take it from there. We kind of serve as your video editor. We can make it engaging to watch. We can pluck out the parts that are, most interesting for people to watch. And that barrier to entry, we want to just reduce it down to zero. So that anyone who has a story to tell or a message that they want to share, they can do that. The only thing they have to worry about is basically being confident on camera and starting to shoot. So this is kind of our origin story. I just wanted to give that as a backdrop. And then Saba, if you want to go to the next slide, I can give a little more info.
Your origin story cannot be understated enough. And I feel like if you're not somebody who created before it, you have no idea that people were paying sometimes, like usually the average cost was $30 for every 60-second video to be edited post-production. And even when somebody in that $30 was giving you a video, they were only giving you one size. So nobody was giving you like 4 different formats for 4 different platforms to go and optimize on each one. And like that was me. And that's why I think like I became so obsessed with this tool, because not only did it do an amazing job, it's another flaw with a lot of AI tools. They overpromise and like underdeliver. But like Opus like promises and like over delivers. Like it's absolutely incredible how easy it is to be able to get the different formats out, the captioning alone on all of those pieces. So I feel like that if you were not somebody who was paying for that before, that like literally cannot be like overstated enough.
Yeah, when we get into the demo, I think it is, you know, even when I was just preparing the demo, you just, and in this context, you're thinking about it, and it really is such a major unlock compared to how things kind of were even just a year ago. Like just the fact that we can take a video that all the hard work has been done in terms of filming and everything else. We can just drop it in, and in 10 minutes we have all the clips ready to go. It's super just mind boggling. And yeah, so like the summary in terms of like how we've grown and how the product has resonated with folks like yourselves. You know, over the past 10 months, we've reached over 5 million creators and businesses who've come in and at least tried the product, many of which are using it very consistently as their main, you know, video editor, if you will. And during that time, we've had over 100 million videos created for social media through Opus Clip. So I think that, yeah, long story short, I think that this is really needed. People, as you can imagine, really do want to be producing more video, but with Opus Clip, that barrier to entry is lifted a little bit, and people can actually get to it. And yeah, just last slide here. There's a whole variety of people using our platform. We have, you know, traditional content creators like YouTubers. We have marketers. We have professional users, and then of course we have educators as well. We have some college professors. We have pilots in place with a couple of large public universities who they're using Opus Clip they're basically arming their professors with Opus Clip, and then the professors kind of like are making clips to share in an ongoing fashion with their class, their students, just to like keep everyone engaged. So there's a whole variety of people using our product. So I would encourage any of you after the presentation, if you want to try it out, I'd encourage you to do that. We have a free forever plan, so you can use the product for free in some capacity month after month, and we also have like a paid subscription plan that you can trial for free. I'm going to just give a quick demo of Opus Clip. I'm going to my goal is I want to just show how easy it is to basically clip your videos. It's only like a few clicks total end to end, and then I'm actually going to jump into a specific example that I think is a really interesting one. It's from Sal Khan. It's actually a TED talk he gave talking about how AI could save education rather than destroy it. And I'll use that as a chance to show you all some of the like more advanced features, some of the editing features, some of the exciting stuff we've been working on, like AI B-roll that Saba mentioned, and yeah, show you just a little bit more inside the platform in that way. So let me start out. So right here, when you come to Opus Clip, this is, you know, I've logged in here, so you can certainly come to just the homepage of our website and access it the same way. But once you're logged in, we keep things super simple. That's kind of our philosophy, right? We want you to just be able to drop in your video and we'll take it from there. So right up here front and center, you have the option to drop in any video link, or almost any. So we support YouTube links. If you have a Vimeo link, a Zoom, you know, link to your recording, Twitch, LinkedIn video link, whatever you've got, you can put it in here, or you can upload, if you have the actual video file, you can do that. But just for the sake of this example, let me take, again, this is just a TED talk from Sal Khan, a really exciting one. I'd recommend everyone check it out if they haven't yet. But I'm going to drop that YouTube link right in here, and it will take a moment. But we've basically now, like, we fetched that video. Our app is sitting here looking at it, ready to go. And yeah, I basically have the option here to, I can either just right off the bat hit get clips in one click and leave it fully up to the AI, or I can use what we call our AI co-pilot. So it's kind of like a few controls that we give users to steer the AI in the right direction. So just a few highlights. I can choose to add captions to it. This is just a default that we leave on, but you can always You can always turn this off if you just want to, or sorry, if you want to add captions but not clip the video, you can do that. But we have a few caption styles here. I highly recommend trying these out if you don't have your own brand yet. You don't really have your own style yet as a video creator. These are popular caption styles that we have. We've taken from some of our partners, like Think Media. They're a large YouTube channel, and some other popular ones I'm sure some of you recognize. So you can choose one of these, and it will apply that style of captions to your clips. But then, like I was saying, the rest of this Copilot here gives you a few options to choose from before you actually initiate the clipping. If you do want to just add captions and not clip, you can always do that. We currently support that for videos up to 3 minutes long. But here you'll see genre of video. This is something that we have in beta right now. What we've basically done is we've taken our AI models, what used to be just a kind of single stroke approach to our AI model we use for like determining which clips to pull out. We've created breakout genres here. So we kind of steer our AI model in a slightly different direction based on the genre of video that you're submitting. So let's say that I was submitting a video that was it was a 30-minute long Q&A, right? I can tell Opus Clip that this is a Q&A video, and Opus Clip, our AI will look at it in that light and kind of like, understand that that's the format of video, and it'll turn out better clip results as a result of that. Or like I'm sure this would be the case for many of you. Maybe if you wanted to put academic, you could put that. So the AI would it'll tune down the appetite for finding like sensationalized moments and like, what are the big, huge moments, and it would more take like, oh, what is intellectually interesting in this video? Let's find those moments to clip. So you can steer our AI's curation model in whatever direction you want based on the video genre. For now, I'm just going to leave it to auto because you'll see in a moment. I'm just showing you all the Copilot. We're not actually going to sit here and wait for it to clip. And then just last couple things here in our Copilot. If you have a much longer video, maybe it's like 2 hours long or 3 hours long, and you want to give the AI a narrower window of that video to focus on, like that, oh, the last 30 minutes of my 2 hour long webinar was fiery. That's really what I want to focus on. You could steer it in that direction. And last couple things here, you can leave the clip length to auto, and our AI will just like find what the best moments are, regardless of length, 0 to 3 minutes. Or if you just want to make, for example, YouTube Shorts, you can say 30 to 60 seconds only. That's the only clip length that I want to focus on. And then last one here, this is also a newer feature we've launched. If you have topics in your video that you really just want the clips to focus on, like say AI, for example, you can put AI in here, and our AI will look specifically in your video for moments where that was mentioned and use that when it's evaluating what it should clip. So these are kind of all the options we have. I know I've been rambling, but in practice, if you have a video, you can actually apply these settings in like 1 to 2 minutes and steer the AI in more of the direction that you want. And then you can click get clips in one click, and you'll see that we've fetched the video, we've analyzed it. We tell you what the waiting time is for your clips. This can vary depending on how busy the queue is at the moment. I would say, middle of the day on Monday is probably not the best, but if you came in on Saturday, it would be slightly less. And we'll basically get cracking on this, and you can, go find something else to do for 12 minutes. And then when all is finished, we turn out your clips here. So I actually did clip that video earlier today, just so we didn't all have to sit here and wait. So you can see here that we have, I think in total, 11 clips. Opus Clip has found 11 clips in total for a video that is 15 minutes and 36 seconds long in total. That's not that bad, right? That's almost 1 clip per minute. And some of these have like, mini scenes that overlap and such, but each one of these has a slightly different narrative to it. And I can go through, and I actually did want to double click on one of these, but the quick highlight is just 11 clips. They vary in terms of duration, because that's how I ran it earlier. I said any clip length is fine. So some of these are 2 minutes long, some of these are 1 minute, some are 1.5 minutes, less than 30 seconds. And yeah, you get all sorts of variety about all sorts of topics. I'm just looking at the chat real quick because I see there's been a question, and
Yeah.
I want to
There's a question on
break things up.
short form clips, continuous videos, or edited clips that make a short form sequence.
Are the short form clips continuous videos or edited clips that make a short form sequence? Oh, that's a great question. I see what you're saying. So you're saying, so we started with a 15-minute video. Did Opus Clip kind of like take 11 consecutive or like continuous videos, or did it like cut and mix and match pieces? It does. A lot of times by default, it will pick continuous videos because like that's a lot of times that's just the nature of how like long videos play out. It's like you'll have a really interesting like minute 3 to 4 where Sal is talking about something in particular, just makes for a very coherent clip. But no, in certain contexts, our AI will find like, oh, this is a really compelling 10 seconds, and then it matches well to this 30-second part from a minute later on in the clip, and it'll kind of like piece those together. So you'll see instances of that. If you clip your own videos, you'll see that here and there. But I would say a lot of times it does pick just continuous video portions because those end up being coherent and really watchable. I'm going to try to contain my excitement because I'm so stoked about the fact that they are launching this. We do a lot of co-marketing with LinkedIn. We're very in touch with their team. So we've been kind of following this new feature. Just, yeah, for context, everyone in the room, like Saba was saying, LinkedIn is actually launching a TikTok style video feed. Yeah, I think it's called Briefs or something similar. Anyone who wants to start creating video, I'm sure Connor will say the same. Like, this is a really, really good opportunity to do that because it's going to most likely have, a bottom navigation button where people just be able to click on it and quickly get into that vertical feed. And so discoverability is going to be super high on LinkedIn, just like how it was on Instagram when they launched Instagram Reels and like when TikTok first took off in the US. I think just to keep it like simple, based on what I've been reading about, like from, just LinkedIn's own data and some of their recommendations from their content team, if I could just say like one thing about creating video for LinkedIn versus other platforms is just that viewers on LinkedIn, and therefore kind of like the LinkedIn video algorithm, it does index really strongly towards credibility and authoritativeness. So I think like one difference is someone can like go on to other platforms like TikTok and maybe Instagram Reels. They can maybe be lacking in authoritativeness in what they're talking about, but as long as they kind of like package up that message in a really like engaging way and in a really attention grabbing way, they can find success. LinkedIn viewers are much more likely to be more mindful about, what is this person's credibility? Like, do they have a background in this? What's their unique perspective in that way? So I would just say for advice on that, however you can tie in your own experience and your own kind of ethos to whatever you're talking about, LinkedIn's algorithm factors that in more than other platforms. And then viewers on LinkedIn in particular are always like, they kind of have like an eye for that. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm excited about LinkedIn doing that too. So I again only started in short form video, I think 3 weeks ago, if I have that right. And at first I kind of thought like, oh, I'll be able to use this all for everything, but in fact, you're right. There's a different vibe. And, Saba, you sort of, I think, are really good at this because I follow you everywhere at this point. And like LinkedIn is just a different audience. Like on TikTok, it can be like, hey guys, you know how blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to tell you the one hack, like that kind of thing. Whereas LinkedIn is much more like, hey, like, there's a good way to use this, and I'm going to share the good way to use it. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if you kind of like cross those wires a little bit, like LinkedIn is a platform to sort of gain credibility. And it's like Saba said, like every client that I have that sort of like brought me out to kind of train on AI, they always say like, oh, I watch your YouTube videos. I don't actually make that many YouTube videos, but like they've always seen, because I think what they want to hear more than anything else is they want to hear what you are like when you're speaking in front of an audience. And there's people like Saba who are like super, super gifted at that, just like really great facilitators. And I think if you were only sort of posting information, it would be good. But to see you live, you just have this like real energy. You know what I mean? Like where people are like, oh my gosh, I want that person in the room facilitating for me. And that's what LinkedIn can do. And, and also just to sort of like put in a quick thing about Opus Clip too, like Saba and I were talking offline, like literally this morning, I'm now trying to, kind of build all this stuff out more. So it's not just like the same clip can go on TikTok, but some of them can go over on LinkedIn. But yeah, first of all, was being said in the chat, those things get so much more engagement because people are just like hungry for hearing somebody talk about it. That's number one. And number two, I have so much stuff on TikTok, just so, I mean, sorry, on YouTube over the last year or so. And I saw Opus Clip and I was like, okay, like maybe I don't have to create all this. Like a lot of stuff I have over there is evergreen. I don't know if I can sneak in a question to Parker right now too. Like if that's cool. Like I don't want to like grab the platform here. But so
Yeah.
like on YouTube, like this is kind of like my style for you. Like this is where I like live, right? In my kind of like home office when I'm not at NYU. And so when I want to do like Opus Clip, like I don't know how to sort of like do it where it will kind of like fit it sort of like in the clean style, because sometimes it zooms in and I was realizing that's my fault because I'm sort of like trying to create a way to make it into sort of like a more vertical thing. And I don't know, like, do I mess with the aspect ratio or something like that? And then sometimes like, but Twitter messes it up a lot and all that kind of stuff. But so I've been like, and I haven't really messed around with it enough to sort of see it, but it's, again, like I am obsessed with Opus Clip. And so like, and I'm going to sort of like try to kind of ping Parker offline to sort of like get more on this, guys, because if you have created content, this is a magic show, what he is showing you right now. So that's sort of like how I want to kind of like think about, like, I have all this stuff. And here's the other thing. I am stunned constantly. Like I'm out there all the time with everything. Obviously, like Saha is too, right? But I'll put out a newsletter on saying something, and then the next day I'll put out like a little short form video saying the exact same thing. And both days, everybody's like, that's wild. And the next day, that's incredible. I'm like, didn't you just hear me yesterday? But no, like you can keep putting this stuff out in different, slightly different things. And this is why I love what Opus Clip is doing here. But Parker, how do you sort of see that when you're like kind of like translating and you want to kind of keep a consistent sort of like look to it or something like that? Like, how do you think about that?
Good question. And I have to be honest, as you were talking, I was like trying to find the videos were minimized, so I didn't catch the first part of what you were showing. Were you implying so you want your videos to be in landscape? You want to retain that? Is that
Well,
right?
so yeah, no, so yeah, so I guess what I'm thinking is, for me, like I've done all these things like handheld, and sorry to, I don't mean to hijack stuff, but forgive me for hijacking the conversation here. But it's one of these things where like I'll film myself like on my phone kind of thing, but I realize I have so much content that I've already created on YouTube. And is it the kind of thing where I can just like, even if it's like this, so you see my aspect ratio right now, will it cut it down, or will I be like way too zoomed in because it has to, and not by any fault of Opus Clip, like you're doing what I'm asking you to do, which is kind of cut it down. But how would I think about that if I want to sort of like go into my YouTube and sort of like create it in such a way that it actually has a nice clean look like TikTok and everything else, and isn't like too zoomed in because Opus Clip is trying to do what I told it to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do have a way to, let's see if I can find the best example. I guess I'll use this clip here
Yeah.
as an example. So like what you're describing is just like this like really unfortunate reality, right? Which is that like YouTube is landscape first, and like all of these
Yeah.
vertical platforms. It's just like it's a like physically very challenging thing. But the most established kind of like common way to address that is like you can either kind of go just like your face is huge in the frame, or what you would want to do in your example there, if you want to retain the whole landscape nature of it be on vertical, the top and bottoms would kind of be like blurred a little
Right.
bit, if you're familiar with what I'm talking about, and then the landscape would be retained like normal but shrunk a little bit in the middle. So what it would end
Mm-hmm.
up looking like is essentially something like this, and we apply like blurriness to the top and bottom. I think, again,
Yeah, makes sense.
I think
So
I
that's
screwed
what,
this up earlier.
no, 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 but this is great. So like, so you can go into a clip and then you can sort of like mess with the layout preference, everything in that particular. Yeah, that's what I just haven't messed with it yet. But again, like, and again, I'm not just saying, you and I don't know each other. It's not like, oh, I'd like to buy your product, young man. You know what I mean? Like, so like, this is not a setup, but I really am, because it feels like you guys are the best out there. And I just want to sort of like figure out like, wow, I have like this treasure trove of stuff. And that, I think what you're on right now is huge for people, because I think sometimes like it feels so easy that you feel like it's one clip, but then when you do the settings, it feels like you can really have a lot more control over what you're trying to show the audience, right?
Anyone who makes landscape video like wants to probably know about this, so I don't think you're hijacking it in that sense, Connor. But yeah, you'd want to use fit. So fill would be you just blow it out. Fit would be that we take your video however wide it is and we cram it in there. I think you might have raised one more point. So like from platform to platform, right? There's like the vertical first, like TikTok and Instagram Reels and so on, and YouTube Shorts. Within the same interface, the workflow for this we are working on so that it can be a little more like seamless. Like from one interface, you can have different aspect ratios without leaving. But what you can do, like if you had a clip that you wanted to be square for LinkedIn, like you wanted it to be in the feed and not the new vertical feature, you could change the layout here are too square. So it would no longer be like vertical. The square video is a little more appropriate on the current version of LinkedIn and Twitter. So there's other ways you can have
Got it.
control like you're asking for.
So useful.
This is another thing I'll say, like, as a sort of like a bit of a closing now, as I really appreciate how generous you are with your free version. Like, one of sort of like the next steps in this workflow for anyone who's, looking for that next level is I'll take some of these, and like I currently have a book coming out. And so we've translated all the videos, even being able to go back and translate videos into both Arabic and Spanish are like our two big markets right now. But being able to, like, there's just so much you can do with video over the long haul. But HeyGen is not generous at all with their free video clips. I really, really, really appreciate that people can come in here, they can try things, and they can really, get a good feel for the workflow that they can integrate as they do this. So, Conor, any last thoughts for the group as we head out?
Yeah, listen, I thought that was awesome. And I again want to encourage people that this is both a, behavior and a tool. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like Opus Clip is not going to work for you unless you're like, you know what? Like, let me just try that. And you're probably only going to be able to do that if you can kind of get comfortable. Again, behind pulling back the curtain, Saba does this, I do it, like, script your stuff. Don't feel like everybody like looks very unscripted. We're not, folks. We are scripted. Like, it's your script. But just remember that you have to get comfortable with it. Practice first. Don't feel like, here I go. You know what I mean? Like, practice, get comfortable, all that kind of stuff, and then dive into these tools and know that you're not going to have to spend all night editing and things like that. I'm really excited about it.
Amazing. Well, good luck to everybody. Parker, any final thoughts for people as we head out?
No, this was great. I really enjoyed this. Loved all the points. I learned a lot as well from Saba, you, and Conor. So I really am hoping I can generate like the courage and the confidence to be posting more video deliberately on LinkedIn. And I think the new feed they're launching is a great opportunity. So everyone in the room, hope we all, get started on that.
Now, if you are on LinkedIn, you may have noticed there is a new tab called Video. They now have a dedicated space for video content. It's absolutely no secret that one of the top ways people like to consume content online is through video, and Opus makes this so easy to do. If you have any questions at all about creating videos that are going to inspire, motivate, and empower your teams internally or externally, let me know, and I look forward to seeing your videos. And if you want some one-on-one support, we invite you to check out the AI Bootcamp and Leadership Toolkit.